Hello and welcome to Anatomy of a Song, and the song we're going to look at today is a song called A House Is Not a Home, written by Burt Bacharach and Halitosis David, or Hal to his friends. It's written in 1964, originally for a movie of the same name, House Is Not a Home, starring Shelley Winters, who herself was part of an entertainment dynasty. She was the sister of Mike and Bernie Winters, one for the teenagers. And I've actually done quite a lot of research into this song from the internet, so I hope you find that interesting. And the first person to really record the song was Dionne Warwick, who was the mother of former racing driver Derek Warwick, another one for the teenagers. It was also recorded by Ella Fitzgerald and Burt Bacharach himself and many others, including Luther Vandross in 1981 on his massive album Never Look Back. It's a 2.5 minute song which Luther, bless him, managed to eke out to 7 minutes somehow, with lots of oohs and ahs and yeah babies and that sort of thing. So we're starting out playing it in C for the musicians among you, not the original key, but it's the only one I can play. We're starting with just these two little chords, C and an F, and then the song starts. A chair is still a chair, even when there's no one sitting there. And see what Hal David has done there is he's evoked a philosophical thing. It's a bit like the tree, when a tree falls in the woods and no one hears it, does it make a noise, that sort of thing. So a chair is still a chair even when there's no one sitting there, so it's a bit philosophical. So that's the first line. And then Burt Bacharach takes us on quite a journey of cascading chords for the second line. Starts off, goes to the subdominant, the F, and then my favourite chord, probably the reason I like this song, which is a weird E chord, and then it goes, and then a C7 with an F sharp bass. So there's some beautiful chords in there, and the words to that go on. But a chair is not a house. Right, so a chair is not a house. Yeah, you can't argue with that, can you really? There we go. A chair is not a house, and a house is not a home, when there's no one there to hold you tight, and no one there for you to kiss goodnight. Although I would take some exception to that, because there are people that live on their own, aren't there, and through choice or other circumstances, and I'm sure they still think their house is a home. But anyway, not to quibble. Second verse. A room is not a room, even when there's nothing there but gloom. And so Hal David there has spotted that gloom rhymes with room, which is helpful, because if he'd wanted to say sadness or melancholy, that doesn't rhyme with kitchen. So he's hit the mother load with gloom and room. A gloom is not a room, even though there's nothing there but gloom. But a room is not a house, another correct observation. And a house is not a home, when the two of us are far apart, and one of us has a broken heart. Very nice. So now we get to the middle eight, and Burt Bacharach takes us on quite an unexpected melodic journey. And the words here are, now and then I call your name and suddenly your face appears. It's amazing what Alexa can do. But faced with those words, Burt Bacharach takes us on this journey. Now and then I call your name, and suddenly your face. Now where do you think it's going to go next? It's a mystery. Suddenly your face appears. Didn't expect that one. But it's all a silly game, and when it ends in tears. And Bert, bless him, has miraculously taken us back to a place that makes sense with the original melody. Don't quite know how he did it, how he got from there to there, but he did. And the game of love doesn't always end in tears, kids, by the way. Don't be too downhearted. So the last verse. Darling, have a heart. Don't let one mistake keep us apart. And what Hal David has done there is introduced an element of mystery into the narrative, because don't let one mistake keep us apart, but we don't know what that mistake was. One might assume that it was some unfaithfulness in the relationship, be the obvious guess, but could equally mean he'd slightly overcooked the sprouts, which in and of itself would not be enough to cause a rift in the relationship, I guess. But it could have been the last straw in a long line, a catalogue of culinary disasters, which was just one sprout too many. So one mistake. It could also have been murder, which would require a bit more forgiveness, I suppose. But anyway, I guess we'll never know. Don't let one mistake keep us apart. I'm not meant to live alone. Come and make this house a home. When I climb the stair and turn the key. See, there's an interesting point there, really, because he gets home, climbs the stair, and then turns the key. So, is there a lock on the bedroom door? Or I think the more obvious explanation is he actually lives in a flat, which kind of destroys the whole song, really, because it's, you know, a flat is not a home, or a chair is not a flat. But anyway, there we go. And turn the key and find you there, still in love with me. So there we are. A house or a flat is not a home. Burt Bacharach, Hal David, 1964. I hope you found that analysis vaguely useful, and maybe equips you to go and listen to a proper version of the great song. See you next time.